what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. Today I'm starting a new segment. It's called The Most Deserving. And before we get into that, if you guys could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I try to build my channel up here. If there's anything you don't like, you can leave me a thumbs down or a comment. Now, the most deserving, what that is and this is on the 122-pound super bantamweight division. But this segment is basically letting you guys know the most deserving guys of title shots in each weight class. Because we know, for the most part, we know a lot of the champions, they've already achieved that goal. You know, some of them, some champions struggle to get big fights, yes, but they've already achieved the goal of becoming world champion. These fighters are the top challengers. They can be former champions, they can be just regular challengers, but that's what it is. So, let's jump into the super bantamweight division here, and I'm basically going to look at like your 3 to 5 per division. The top 3 to 5. I'll count them down from 3 to 1. So, most deserving, I kind of have a two-way tie for third. You know, you can argue, you can throw Liam Davies in. He's undefeated. He beat Ionu Baluta last year. You can kind of throw him in the mix. Nice win right there. He's climbing up the ladder, but I wouldn't put him in the top 3 just yet. Azat Havanassian, probably right outside the top 3. He had that war with Luis Neri, and he's a guy that was widely avoided. He fought for the title back in, I think it was 2017 against Ray Vargas, and since then has been widely avoided by most fighters at 122, and he's tried to get himself into a title shot and came up just short against Neri in an eliminator. But the top 3, number 3, I gotta go with Stephen Fulton Jr., the former unified champion. You know, Stephen Fulton, he got his ass whipped against Inoue. We know that. But the guy really did build himself up in 3 fights. He really took over 122, defeating Angelo Leo convincingly, defeating Brandon Figueroa in a Fight of the Year candidate to unify belts. In a fight where most people didn't argue that he lost. It was a close fight. And then he dominated the former number 1, former unified champ Daniel Roman to retain the belts and really solidified himself as the top guy at 122. So even though he got his ass whipped against Inoue, Stephen Fulton is still a very deserving fighter, even though he's not champion anymore, and even though he got his ass whipped in his last fight. What he did in the previous 3 fights make him one of the top 3 most deserving fighters at 122 pounds. Number 2, I'm going with MJ Marajan Akhmadaliev, the other former unified champion. He and Stephen Fulton entered the year as the 2 champions, both held 2 belts. And MJ lost his unified title to Marlon Tapales in an upset in April. But it was a very close fight. He lost by a split decision. MJ had been champion since 2020, January of 2020, when he upset Daniel Roman to win the belts. And, he built himself up and was, arguably 1 or 2 for over 3 years. So, he absolutely, and also his performance against Tapales. He didn't just go in there and get his ass whipped. He fought hard. It was a close fight. It could have went either way, and he came up short. He's number 2 at 122 for most deserving. But in my opinion, the most deserving fighter of a title shot at 122 pounds right now is the former multi-division champion, Luis Neri. I can't remember if Neri's won belts in 2 or 3 divisions, but he's definitely won them in 2. And he's a former champ here at 122. And what makes him the most deserving fighter of a title shot at 122 right now is the win over Azat Havanassian. But not just that. He proved himself against Brandon Figueroa and you can argue, was winning the fight before Figueroa stopped him in 2021. It took him 2 years to get right back into that serious title mix, and he went out there against Havanassian and in a great all action back and forth fight of the year. In my opinion, it is the fight of the year. It looked like he was starting to fade a little bit, and Havanassian was taking over in the second half of the fight, And then, boom, he landed a money left hand on Havanasi and hurt him badly, and then ended up stopping him. Luis Neri, absolutely. He went after the most feared man in the division, the most avoided guy in the division, and Azat Havanasian. And he went out there and he didn't just beat him, he fought him in a Fight of the Year candidate, and he knocked him out. And also, you know, he's deserving, you know, of course, because of his performance against Figueroa, but a lot of people thought, you know, that he was too small for 122. Even when he won the vacant title against Aaron Alameda, you know, he didn't have a great performance. He won a close decision. Then he goes out against, you know, Figueroa and loses the belt and gets stopped on a body punch in a fight. You can argue that a lot of people thought he was winning, but you know, it was towards the middle rounds. A lot of people felt, well, he's just a little guy at 122. So he's shaking off all that shit and is the absolute most deserving fighter of a title shot. And I do believe within the next 6 months to a year, we're going to see Neri fighting for a world title, because I think he's a WBC's mandatory right now. But you know how the WBC is, and with Inoue holding the belt and lining up undisputed against Tapalis, that fight's gonna definitely happen first, and then it depends on what Inoue wants to do. You know, Neri could get a shot at Inoue. He could fight Inoue next, you know, for the title within the next, like I said, 6 months to a year. Or if Inoue decides to move up in weight, Neri could be fighting for the vacant title. So it's all up in the mix, but Luis Neri absolutely is the most deserving fighter at 122 pounds of a title shot, and he will be getting that shot within the next year for the world title. So that's it. That's what I got. I hope you enjoyed the new segment. This is the most deserving at 122 pounds super bantamweight. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.